So we got an awesome response on our first 3 rotary mini bike videos. And you know what? We're just sitting around listening to this thing NA, and we really do like how it sounds, but I think we'd be definitely missing out if we had a rotary mini bike and didn't at least try to turbo it. So let's get our turbo in here. Check this thing out, guys. This is a VZ21 turbo. Basically the smallest one we could buy. We used this thing on our Turbo 212 with kind of iffy results. It was tough to turbo a Predator 212, but hey, it did run and drive with a turbo and made boost and stuff. We should not be encountering any of those same issues when we turbo this rotary. I actually think this thing is going to spool up like crazy. So I'm sure y'all are excited as we are to get this thing on. So let's just get started. In this video, we're gonna be basically just mounting this guy up and seeing how much noise it makes, how much spool we get. And then in future episodes, we'll do all the plumbing and things and drive it. So stay tuned for part 1. You're gonna hear this thing spool today.
So we wanna hear this thing one more time NA. So we'll give you guys kind of like a little sound comparison. So we're just taking the chain off so we can easily rev it out and not have to worry about anything.
Y'all like that last run. We wanted to do that, but now we got to pull the fuel system. We actually have to add a permanent mounting system instead of zip ties on here. Once we get the gas system mounted up, then we'll be able to mount up our turbo.
We're mounting our gas tank right now. The front bars up here are a little narrow, but we got these GoPowerSports gas tank mounts, which are super nice. And they have these nice beefy brackets down here. So we're just gonna kind of bend them in and cut them to fit our frame. So we got pretty lucky that the turbo from our 212, the turbine like bearing and the nut and everything came off. It's basically junk. But we can take all the fittings and all the fabrication for the flanges that we already did and just use it on this one. So it's pretty lucky.
So we pretty much got all we need off of this thing. We have a block off plate for where the water cooler would be if you opted for that. We have the oil drain and the oil fill. These are just kind of plates we made from previously. So now what we need to do is we need to mount up where our exhaust flange is going to go, coming in here to power the turbo. And we have this flange here, so we're going to get it bolted up, and then we can go over to the mini bike and mock it up how we want this thing to sit.
Yeah. I'm gonna go a little shorter. Look.
Good.
Super cool. Oh, we just got it tacked up. It looks really nice, but yeah, pretty clean. Not too much leverage or pipe going from there, so it should be pretty solid.
Yep, so now we'll just get it on the table and weld it up all the way. Okay, so this is all welded up, looks pretty good. Now we need to focus on an oil system. On the last turbo kart we did, we used like a diesel transfer pump, and we had to have a battery on board and everything. It made it a huge pain. But we had a good idea of maybe just using a GoPowerSports pulse pump and seeing if that would be able to pump oil. So I'm gonna cut to a clip we took a few weeks ago where we tested that out, and let's see if it works. So that worked. We had a steady stream of flow. Even at higher revs, it pretty much maintained the same flow, which is perfect. We were worried about over oiling that way, you know, because then it'd overpower some of the seals in the turbo. So with that being said, now all we need to do is just do our turbo inlet and outlet lines from the exhaust and to the intake. And woo, we'll be hearing this thing be a turbo rotary mini bike. We're super lucky we're not gonna have to use a battery or anything for an oil system. So like typically, we're just gonna use this GoPowerSports catch can because they look really nice as our oil reservoir. So how it's gonna work is we're gonna have our turbo up here with our feed line going from the pump to the top. It's just gonna gravity drain from the bottom of the turbo into here. And then this down here is gonna go back and gonna be our feeder for our pulse pump.
So we have the turbo in, and now we're doing kind of our oil wiring. The routing on this is actually really clean. We have just a really, you'll probably recognize this from a Predator, but just a little hose going from the outlet to our catch can. And then the outlet of the catch can goes into the inlet for our pulse pump. And then we have the pulse coming. There's a pulse port on the bottom of the rotary, which is actually super convenient. And then we have the out from the pulse pump that will go right up in here to the top of the turbo. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
All the essentials for just the basic system are in. What we want to do before we go any further is make sure that everything works. We want to see that the turbo's spooling, we want to see that the oil is getting pumped, and that there's no like exhaust leaks or anything like that. So yeah, we just need to fill it up with gas and we'll get to hear this thing spool.
Moment of
It
truth.
was nothing.
Let's see how she does. Hopefully we get consistent oil and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Me. Okay.
Oh man.
Oh.
That sounded awesome. I wonder. Hopefully we got it.
Okay. Keeps wanting to die.
Alright, so it's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
See how we got a little bit too much oil coming through. So that means what we need to do is we need to add some sort of valve on here, a petcock that goes above the oil right on top. That way we can kind of restrict some of our oil flow. Pretty cool though, sounds awesome. Well, the good news is the oil pump works because we can see all the smoke and oil we're burning and all the oil coming out of our pressure side of the turbo here. So the problem is it's being pumped in faster than it can drain out of the turbo. So to fix that, all we're gonna do is add one of these guys in line. And what we can do is this is completely closed, this is completely open. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of turn it to however we like it. What we'll probably do is we'll run it until it stops coming out of basically both ends when the smoke gets low, and then we'll just leave it here forever unless we see there's a little too much smoke, we'll kind of turn it down a little bit and vice versa. We probably got to burn out the old stuff first too.
Yeah.
Like almost all the way.
I wonder if it's dripping in too. Wait, let's see. Could it be?
Oh, you mean it's going into the exhaust and
Like
flooding it?
down.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Well, I'm gonna close it and we'll run it for a bit.
Okay.
So we don't have any problems. Alright, so right now we're gonna test. We have the petcock completely closed. We just want to see, we just need to see what's going on, basically. So we're just gonna kind of mess with the petcock while we have it running and kind of see what it's doing. Okay, so ah, dang it.
We gotta burn out the oil out of the turbo. So we have just a trickle going through here. We're pretty sure that seals on this turbo, I mean, we did get off eBay. It is the smallest, cheapest turbo you can get. So it's probably just doesn't have very good seals, but we have a very small trickle, and our plan is to use 2-stroke oil through it, because for one, it probably doesn't matter too much for this cheap turbo, but then also if it goes in and burns, we won't have like extra carbon buildup or anything. It would be oil that's meant to burn. Cool. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We made a lot of progress in this video. It is very promising. We think we can get this thing to work. So stay tuned for next time when we start doing all the boost piping and the exhaust, and you actually get to see this thing make boost. Thank you for watching. Thank you to GoPowerSports for a lot of the parts on this build. And make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.